Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us at this regular meeting of the Local Agency Formation Commission, or LAFCO, as it's affectionately known. Given the current shelter-in-place order covering the state of California and the social distancing guidelines issued by the federal and local authorities, there will be limited seating here at the chambers. I'd like to thank you all who have shown up this morning. This LAFCO meeting is also accessible via live streaming online to all members of the public. And also you can email comments if you wish. To address any item on the agenda, send those comments to david.braun, that's B-R-A-U-N, at maderacounty.com. Today is Wednesday, September 23rd. It's just a few minutes after 11 a.m. And if we can ask for roll call, please.
Okay, Commissioner Rodriguez. Here. Commissioner Wheeler.
Here.
Commissioner Medellin.
Here.
Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Wasim.
Here.
Great, thank you, Dave. As you can tell, we have a couple of our commissioners joining us via Zoom or some sort of video chat. So thank you for having them up on the screen. We can see them. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us. If you're able to stand, please, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Commissioner Max Rodriguez.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for one nation.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez, and everybody. Moving on to public comment. Any person wishing to address the commission on a subject within the subject jurisdiction of Madera LAFCO, but not appearing on the agenda, may do so, again, by email at david.braun@maderacounty.com, or here in public if you wish to take the podium. And once again, to speak on items that are not on the agenda, you'll have 3 minutes to do so, and the podium is right over here. I'll ask if there's anybody wishing to speak under this definition of public comment. Please come forward. Seeing. Did you wish to speak, ma'am? Okay. Yeah, you'll have your opportunity to speak at that time. Right now, this is items that are not on the agenda. And I don't believe, Mr. Braun, did we receive any public comment via your email for items that are not on the agenda?
We did not.
Thank you. So with that, I will close public comment and remind those that are not speaking to mute their phones or mute microphones, things like that, to eliminate any background noise. Thank you very much. And we'll move into our first public hearing, item number 4. This is the City of Madera Highway 99 and Ellis Street annexation. This is the annexation of approximately 76.6 acres on the east side of Highway 99, north of the Ellis Street overpass. Mr. Braun.
Go ahead and put that. Yes, commissioners, this is a annexation application to annex to the City of Madera. It involves 6 parcels, and we also included some Highway 99 right-of-way. Go to the next slide. Yeah. This portion of Highway 99 was not in the City of Madera. The yellow area is the city, so we included that, so that whole stretch is in the city. This application was submitted by Edward McIntyre for the one large 51-acre site at the northern end of the annexation. This property is currently undeveloped, and it's planned for commercial uses on the City of Madera general plan. The City of Madera, when we routed this out, the City of Madera requested that we add 5 additional parcels to the annexation, and these are the parcels kind of down at the southern end of the property of the annexation area. Apparently back in 2008, there was a similar application proposed, and at that time, LAFCO had asked that these 5 other parcels be added. And so when the City of Madera pre-zoned this area, they pre-zoned all 6 parcels. So it has been expanded. The other 5 parcels encompass 11.7 acres roughly. These other parcels are either vacant or developed with residential uses, and they're planned for low density on the Madera general plan. The area proposed for annexation is contiguous to the city to the west and to the north. And there is existing city of Madera water and sewer available to the north in that newly developed Love's Travel Center. And so Sharon Avenue there can be extended down into the property and provide services from the city of Madera. In 2008, the city of Madera pre-zoned this property. Excuse me, the large parcel was pre-zoned as C2, a commercial zoning. The other 5 parcels were zoned U, which is a kind of a general, it's an unclassified zone district. And then, of course, they also adopted a mitigated negative declaration at that time. The main purpose of this annexation is really to allow this large property to be developed in the city of Madera utilizing city services. The applicant at this time does not have a proposal for development of the property, but it's likely it's going to be zoned commercial. It's likely it would have a similar type use, some use that would probably be compatible with the existing Love's Travel Center to the north. The other 5 parcels have this U zone district designation. That would require a conditional use permit to be filed for any development proposed on those properties. And at this time, there is no development proposed on those properties. The city of Madera has indicated that they would honor any use that was legally established in the county upon annexation to the city. And I did receive a question from one of these property owners. They have some livestock on their property, and they were concerned whether or not that livestock would be permitted upon annexation. And the city of Madera confirmed that it would be permitted. The existing livestock that they have would be permitted. From LAFCO's standpoint, it's appropriate to centralize the governance of this area with the city of Madera as they're best able to provide services to this site. Attached to your staff report are comments from the city of Madera and the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District. These comments relate more to the development of the property rather than the annexation. And so they have been placed as conditions of approval to be implemented at the time the property is actually developed. We have not received any opposition from the annexation from any of the property owners that are actually being annexed, but we do have a couple of letters that I received, and I passed it along to you, that are from property owners adjacent. I believe they're both across, just directly across the street here on the east side of that large 51-acre parcel. Most of the comments relate to, again, site development, how the site's going to be, where the building's going to be located, how's the lighting going to be configured, are they going to build a wall along that east boundary? And all those site development issues are not really within the purview of LAFCO. Those would be issues that we would deal with, or the city of Madera would deal with, when an actual plan for development were to be filed with the city. So I would recommend that those comments be basically forwarded to the city of Madera and to the property owner so they're aware of the issues that they will probably be facing when a development proposal is filed with the city of Madera. So with that, I would recommend approval of the annexation subject to the conditions in your report.
Thank you, Mr. Braun.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Wheeler.
I had a couple of questions. I guess the water and sewer and all those other things, I guess, would be the city if they're going to do it. But just offhand, do you know if they would be using the sewer and water from the city, or would they be doing?
Yes, Commissioner Wheeler, yes, they would be utilizing City of Madera sewer and water services that currently exist up there at the Love's Travel Center.
Oh, great. And then the second question is this with our tax sharing agreement with the city? Does this property fall in this annexation to the agreement we have, or do we still haven't got agreement? We got to be working on that. We should be working already, but we haven't. Something that we got to do, and I really worry about doing another piece without having that property. Tax sharing agreement in place.
Yes, that's a good point. Yes, there is an existing tax sharing agreement in place, and I believe there was an extension of that agreement for another year, so that agreement is in place and would be the agreement that would be used for this annexation.
Can we hold that annexation off until the new agreement's done?
Certainly, the commission would have that option to do that if they so chose.
We got to get off our tails and get it done, and we haven't. So I don't know what the answer is, but.
Well, we do have a current tax sharing agreement in place now.
We do. We have an agreement in place. Yes.
It was just an extension from the previous one that we had.
Yes, there was a previous
We just
agreement.
extended that short one that we done. The four of us got done 2-3 years ago, and we've really been dragging our feet, and I don't like that. I'm just as blamed as much as the rest of them. I bring it up all the time to my staff, but nobody seems to be jumping on it. So I just think that we got to really look into that. So.
I would agree.
And I know we voted. When was that date on that? Do you know, Dave? A couple of months ago, we voted to extend it 1 more year.
Yeah, I know it was June. It was a date in early June that it was going to expire, and I think it was around that time that you, both the city and the county, both approved a resolution to extend it for a year.
Yeah.
Question for you. Is this a property that a shopping center would propose a number of years ago? Mr. McIntyre is here. He can answer that.
Yeah, he may be better able to answer that than I am. If nothing since I've been here, but it could have been before.
This is quite a few years ago.
And just thanks, Mr. McIntyre. Give me 1 second. First, I want to ask, don't leave the podium. I just want to make sure that we have commissioners ask questions of Mr. Braun first, and then I'm going to ask the proponent, and then, of course, we have some people here that want to speak on behalf. So were there any other questions of staff before we call up the proponent? Wasim or Laura? I think those are staff questions, and now we'll ask the proponent to come forward. Name and address for the record. It's not required. And, of course, please, always good to see you and hear from you, Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. The question you had about the shopping center, there were actually 2 shopping centers proposed. One was north of 17, that was the Zellman project, and one was south, which was the Galleria. That's where Love's is now. So we actually pre-zoned during that era, and until there were city infrastructure like water and sewer available, we weren't really interested in going forward because we were pre-zoned. So we hadn't done anything until now.
But that is correct, right? That's the area that the proposed shopping centers were.
Yeah, there were 2 proposed shopping centers, but they were north of this property.
Okay, thank you, Ed.
Thank you. And Chairman Wheeler, I'm going to humbly ask you not to hold this project hostage to the tax sharing agreement issue. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
You're welcome. It just really worries me that we haven't got it done yet. And I got to blame the city council and the board of supervisors both and our staff for not doing it. But I think something like this will hopefully open some eyes up and we get that done.
Just for the clarification, Chairman,
Yes,
uh,
Ahmed, yes.
the current tax sharing agreement is still valid. So there is no requirement at this time that new agreement has to be signed.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
We do have a current tax sharing agreement, and I myself, as well as Commissioner Wheeler, were on the previous ad hoc committees, which, if you remember, Tom, it took months to get done. So the extension is through June of 2021, and that was really in part an agreement on both the city and the county, because at the time, Commissioner Wheeler, you had a new CAO that was coming in, and Mr.
Right.
Varney certainly had his hands full, and that was kind of in the same breath he was taking office and the tax sharing agreement came up. So although it's extended for 1 year, that does not mean that it'll be done in 1 year. And we do have a current tax sharing agreement in place, which I think really, for the most part, it will have to be amended in some ways, but I think we have good bones on it and should not take as long. But
Shouldn't. We worked too hard to get that done.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Chairman, correct me if I'm wrong. I think even the last agreement, we had to have two extensions before we came to the final conclusion and came to that agreement. Am I correct?
That's correct. At least two before we got there.
Yeah.
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 But just for the record, we do have a current tax sharing agreement in place, and it's not required to have any amendment or a new one for this property. So I'll ask now for any comments. As Mr. Braun had mentioned, there were a couple of letters submitted by the Valenzuelas and also Ms. Giddings, who are residents in the area. And so those have actually been sent to the city of Madera. We have our planning director from the city, Mr. Conti, is in the audience with us, and he is well aware of the concerns of the residents in the area. But as Mr. Braun had mentioned, there's a difference between future development and why we're here this morning for annexation of the property. So I will ask for any public comment or comments on this time regarding this particular annexation. Please come to the podium. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt Freber, Chief of Development Services for Madera County. I wanted to thank the commission for the opportunity to speak. And really, my only comments and to Commissioner Wheeler's statements and to yours, Chair, we do have the existing agreement that is in place through 2021 of June, well, to June 2021. Mm-hmm. And the agreement as adopted back in 2017 or 16, no, it was 2016, does also, it calls out for up to 2 1-year annual extensions. So that by no means is my statement of, but there is built into the existing agreement a further extension for the additional year. But we are, on the county side, we are working on that. And I just wanted to take an opportunity to reach out and speak and say that, we're looking forward to those discussions with our partners. We are certainly not opposed to this annexation application, but we are wanting to and looking forward to our working with our partners across the street on a more global annexation discussion and policy within the draft and the revised tax sharing agreement as we're negotiating that currently. So I just wanted to put that on the record, and thank you for the time.
Of course, Mr. Treebeard, you're absolutely right. And it's not on today's agenda, but just for discussion, when we talk about Parksdale, Parkwood, other areas of the city and county working together to annex, that's all in discussions for the tax sharing agreement and working together. But thank you and the county team for working diligently on that. I appreciate that. Anyone else wishing to speak, please come forward. Yes, ma'am. Again, it's optional. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Leslie Giddings, 16810 Walden Drive. I am adjacent to the property that's guys want to annex. Mm-hmm. And there's a few of the neighbors here, and I'm not a public speaker, so please forgive me.
Oh, please.
We can't really say, yes, go for the annexation, because we don't really know what is going to happen to us. Everyone seems to think that we don't count, and that's just not true. We have, on the city or the county site, it's annexed as, it's not commercial. It's residential and agriculture. What is it now? You guys say it's commercial, and website says it's not. That's going to make a big difference as to what's developed there. And if it is commercial, then I'm sorry, you can't do homes. Sorry. Yeah. And I know we all feel strong. I have neighbors that are right up against it. I'm one house away from it. But I was also told that they wouldn't open up our street because that will be a major issue for everybody on there. There's at least 15 kids in just one street. You know, we're not very big. We are still county. We want to stay that way, but we're also concerned about the water. Yes, the water, 470 feet is all the well is for Loves. That's about everything we are. And as we speak now, there's somebody drilling, and there's somebody else who drilled last month, the month before, you know, dropped 5 pipes. So there's no water. So to get for them to build homes, and all the new people, we're left out there with nothing other than $30,000 bills to drill our wells. Why can't we get annexed into the city or into the county water? Water is a major issue out there. Major. And every lot that is being bought up is drilling. We have nothing. We've already spent $3,000. We don't have it. If we have to do anything else, we're in trouble. Just like most everybody on our area. We're a small postage stamp area who gets nothing except the shaft. I'm sorry. That's just, my letter has already been submitted, and I'm sure there's going to be more stuff, but until we know what actually it's zoned as, that's going to be a big decision on our part. That's just my opinion.
Of course, and I appreciate you having neighbors here, and I can tell you this, when it comes to development, it's a double-edged sword. We want growth in our city, we want development, we want the Targets, and we want the Costco's, but sometimes it comes at a price. We know it creates traffic issues and so on and so forth. And when it comes to my own backyard, which you are speaking for you and the neighborhood, what I appreciate, Ms. Giddings, is that you're here on the forefront and being heard early, not after the equipment is out there moving dirt and then you're kind of told what's already been done.
Yeah.
So as we do progress and move forward, and as Mr. Braun had said, this is a multi-year, multi-phase project that just to annex into the city is step one. As we move forward, and the questions that you had are about development, we certainly work through our planning department, the planning commission, the city council, to make sure that these neighbors are completely heard and understood. But you also bring an interesting question about being annexed into the city as well, which may be for another discussion. But if this is a postage stamp island, Mr. Braun, is that something that we can at least consider this particular area as we move forth simultaneously with annexation in the area?
Yes, Commissioner, there's a large area to the east of this property that's in the county that would be a primary area to annex. And I think, as Mr. Treber said, as part of the tax sharing agreement negotiations, there could be discussions of a large scale annexation that could include your property.
I have a question about that then. Are we going to be required to pay for the sewer and the water, the pipes that come through to our area, and will our taxes be skyrocketed? Or is it easier to then get right across the canal is water? You know, everybody over there is on county water. Why can't we? I mean, I had to let everything die. I'm just now getting it back. You know.
Well, I don't have the exact amount, but you would be paying the prices, the city's utility rate prices. I wouldn't say this would be totally on you or the residents back to pay for all the water and sewer, but you would be responsible for whatever the city rates are. And again, it's the double-edged sword. Do I want to stay on my own well, and how long is that going to last versus having city water and infrastructure? We can certainly discuss on what those rates may be for the residents to decide. And this would be a decision for the residents. You would have a chance to vote for it. This isn't something that the city and or county would make you do, you would have a chance to vote.
Okay. So it would be an all or nothing, though. Everybody would have to go for it?
Well, just like any other vote, it would be the majority would rule.
Okay.
But that's where the neighbors come together. You would use city and county staff to have your questions answered, and then you guys decide on the fate of your future.
Okay.
And by being here, and I can assure you, Mr. McIntyre, a developer in Madera and a longtime resident of Madera, certainly hears you. And the last thing that he would want to do is work without you. I can assure you he would want to work with you.
Yeah, like Loves did.
Yeah, so, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Wheeler.
also, yeah, they, Mrs. Giddings, they also can figure out as a group how big, how much they want to annex, how many of the properties, as long as they don't leave no islands, by state law now, we can't have islands, and this is really not creating an island. I'm looking at the map right here in front of me, and it's actually, it sticks out, a little ways. I don't know, it's a quarter mile maybe, but there's no island in between. So I think this fits what it will be the best for those residents around there. And if they can get in the water and sewer, it is much cheaper in the long run for what they'll be paying per month than what if they have to build a new well or $3,000. You won't get no bill for $3,000 from the city or the county if we had anything like that down there, but we don't. But it's all spread out over all the residences for the whole city. So if you have a $3,000, well, then it'd be probably a $30,000 well they'd have to drill, but it's spread out through the whole city, 60,000 people or so. So in the long run, they would have better service at a reasonable price in that whole neighborhood if they decide they want to annex.
Yep.
And they do have that vote too, like you said, Mr. Chairman.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Wheeler. Please, our next speaker.
Name Victor Rubio. Address is 25117 Berkeley Drive. The only reason I'm here is because barely last night I find out my neighbor who lives across, the ones that live across from me, the site that they try to build is to their backyard, but I'm in front of them. I'm on this side of the street. And then they tell me, did you receive the letter? No. What letter? They want to do all these commercials. So no, I didn't receive anything. So I called my next door neighbor, which is barely drilling a new well because this water level keep going down. Mine, I just dropped my pump a little farther out. They told me, but get ready, next year I have to drill again. Okay. I asked my next door neighbor. He says, no, I didn't receive no letter. I guess the only ones who received the letter is the ones next to the proposed site, I guess, because I didn't get no letter. My neighbor got no letter. Yeah.
We send them out, what is it, 300 feet?
350 feet. It's everything within 350 feet.
Then I must be off the limit.
So, yeah, you may be just beyond
Yeah,
that.
just across
Yeah.
the street. No, I was like, that's one of the reasons I'm here. Then I'm here and I'm illiterate to what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but I came to know a little more because it's going to impact me. As it is, as the Love Struck Stop when they built. I keep hearing that the Love Struck Stop is under water and sewer from the city.
Correct.
But the impact that we have with water, when Love's start building, they drilled these pump. They said they went, I don't know how many thousands of feet down. And they put this big old pump in there and everything so they can have their business going. Is that belongs to the city or to the Love Struck stuff?
That well that was built was for Love's and then for any future annexation like this property as well. That's
Yeah, because since that thing happened, they keep saying, no, it won't impact your level water and everything. But since that thing happened, now I got 1 year to put in the piggy bank $30,000. I don't know how, but I will. Anyway, my next door neighbor's drilling. The next one, everybody's starting going lower, down. Anyway, as like I said, even though I didn't receive no letter, I'm going to start getting more familiar on this, and I'm going to have to start getting with the neighbors and find out what for sure is they're trying to do. And I keep saying that this zone is commercial, and I heard from her that they're trying to build homes on the commercial side. and I didn't think it was right to do. But anyway, my question was that
Yep.
that pump belonged to Love's or to the city?
It's a city.
City,
Yeah.
okay. And I was under the wrong impression. And I wanted to know how come I didn't get no letter from to let me know what's going on, that is going to impact me
Right.
as a driver. I lived there for 32 years, and it's been, everything's going to change. But like I said, that's the way it is. But I'll get more familiar with it, and then probably I'll be able to speak more next time. Thank you for listening.
No, thank you, Mr. Rubio. And I'll ask at this point, Dave, I don't think it's really ordinance or anything. Can we extend that 350 feet to at least either 500 or just make sure that the adjacent residents, because I can see where the 350 feet may go to one side of the street, but if the neighbors across the street, I mean, they're just as impacted is what I'm saying. So if it's just as simple as just increasing that to make sure that they get notifications in the future.
Yeah, typically, well, Cortese Knox spells out the distance that we notice. And of course it is, every situation is different. And sometimes the 350 feet just happens to, just come just short of some property that may be impacted. And so it is kind of a random number, but that's what we use.
Just Mr. Chairman, what you might do, Dave, I'm looking at the map here again. Maybe he lived on the other side of that street running east and west. And then there's another street over there that's running north and south. Maybe if it goes to the street 300 feet, do the other side too. Notify the property owners opposite sides. We talked. I figured that he's one of those properties on the opposite side of that street. That's 350 feet. That would be a good way to cover some of those that's, it affects.
Yes, that is a good, if the 350 feet went out into the middle of the street, maybe we could include, I'll have to check and see how, viable that is with the.
Even to the edge of the street.
Yeah,
Even
and then
to
we
the
could
front edge of the street.
do everything
I
on
don't
the
care if
other
it goes the
side.
middle. If it touches that street, do both sides of the property.
Yeah,
Because that street affects both sides no matter what.
Right.
The traffic is going into any kind of project.
yes.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Our next speaker, please. Morning.
My name is Barbara Salcido. I live at 25122 Berkeley Drive, and my property would be the backyard of the shopping center. So my concern is, the question I have is, if we do decide to go city, that we're talking about, that when they put that in, the water and the sewer, are the residents responsible for payment of bringing it in?
That's a good question. And I don't want to avoid the question, but I do want to remind everyone that we're really talking about annexation of this particular project into the city, not the residential property into the city.
Yes, I think that whole area out there where you live is in the county, and it would probably be a large-scale annexation, and there would be a lot of discussions about how that sewer and water is going to be brought in to serve that whole area, how it's going to be paid for, that kind of
Yes,
thing.
'cause we've also been impacted with the water. We just had to drop some more poles down to get our water, and we're probably, as Mr. Rubio, another year to drill again.
We have to drill again.
And that all happened when the Loves came in. Once they started drilling, there's probably 60% of the people there that have had water problems. I can tell you, I've had at least 10 that have dug wells in the last 6-8 months. Then also with the shopping center, my concern is it's because it does sit in my backyard. Now my backyard is going to be available for transients. We do have items sitting in our yard which we'd like to keep.
Sure. Again, I can't tell you what the layout would be like if and when we get to that point. But I can certainly tell you that is duly noted that, again, if it's going to be commercial or when it's commercial or whatever's proposed, when we go to the next steps, it's the adjacent neighbors, it's the sounding walls, it's the garbage truck drivers that go by, the noise, the traffic,
Yes.
all those things will definitely be taken into consideration, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm
may
sorry.
I be able to ask a
One second.
question?
One minute, please. I'm sorry, Ms. Salcedo. Did you get a notification by any chance? Okay.
Copy.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very
Did
much.
she?
Commissioner Ahmed, you had something?
Yeah, I just have a question for clarification. My understanding is there is a total of 76.6 acre that are going to be annexed in, and 51 acre is the commercial, and the rest of the 11.7 acres is going to be they already pre-zoned for the residential use, so they are mixed commercial and residential. Am I correct?
Yes, Commissioner Ahmed, the one big parcel is pre-zoned C2 commercial. The other 5 parcels are zoned this, what's called a U unclassified zone district, which essentially would require any development. They would have to submit a conditional use permit to do any development on those properties. And those properties are planned for residential uses on the City of Madera's general plan. So residential uses, at least at the current time, is what would be proposed for those properties.
So the big piece is commercial.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
The big piece is commercial.
And how many acres is the commercial piece?
51
So-
roughly. A little over 50.
Okay.
50.67 acres. Any other questions at this time?
No, thank you. I appreciate for the clarification.
Of course. Thank you.
And Dave or Chairman, you might just reassure all those people that they will have complete say when you guys start having those hearings, and they will be notified on any of this stuff that's going to be happening when they start developing. So
Absolutely.
Kind of
Absolutely.
help them out a little bit, their worries.
Absolutely. I think you just did,
Here comes
Mr. Chairman.
another-
Thank you. And now we're going to hear from our planning director from the City of Madera, Mr. Conti.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the commission. My name is Gary Conti, City of Madera Planning Manager, and I'd like to go ahead and echo out, just for confirmation for everybody's concerns. Yes, this project right now before you is about the annexation. There is no planned use at this time. The land at the greater part is commercial designated, pre-zoned into the city, and the remaining part of the properties are identified as unclassified. And Mr. Braun clearly iterated that any subsequent use of the unclassified properties would be subject to a conditional use permit for subsequent entitlements. Lands that are, of course, throughout that area would be subject to site plan reviews to address issues that may be a concern to the citizens that surround the properties, in particular sound, traffic, noise, water quality, water availability, and the like. And at that time, when those particular proposals are presented to the city, we will then engage into those particular aspects of entitlement. With respects to properties that are adjacent to and are interested into annexing, that would be an action that would be taken on by those property owners. Key issue, again, has been also identified is that we would be precluded from creating islands, so that there would not be an island of unincorporated lands surrounded by city lands. So we would take those into advisement as that area would move forward, should they wish to be incorporated into the city of Madera. Happy to answer any questions that anybody on the dais would have at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Conti. Appreciate you being here and clarifying that. Any questions from the commission for Mr. Conti?
No, thank you very much, Gary.
More than welcome.
Hi, my name is Jerry Jones. I live at 16215 Sharon Boulevard. just south of the property there that's being annexed. My question is, if you put the little map back up there, that corridor that they say they're annexing there, the highway, it just covers that 51 acres, and then back this way, it's not. What does that leave that? The part where it's corridor,
Here?
you see it goes in front of the 51 acres,
Yes.
and then it's back to what?
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
what does that mean? That's not going to be city down that corridor, or what?
that part, there was one little piece of the freeway right-of-way that was still in the county. The yellow, this part was already in the city. This part up here is in the city, but that part was in the county. So we're annexing that in, and that's, if you look at the acreages, the reason it doesn't add up, if you add all the parcels up, it doesn't add up to 76, is because there's another, I don't know, 14 roughly acres of property in the right-of-way of Freeway 99.
That's already in.
That little portion is not, and it would come into the city with this application.
And my other question is, okay, so to the south, at the corner of, I think it's Grove Street, currently the city limits now. That's about approximately, I'd say, a quarter of a mile south. So that area is going to remain in the county. It's like he's talking about an island. That's kind of what they're making there with us, is cities all the way around it, but except that little part right in there. My question is, they put the overpass, the Ellis overpass in, and then they put the big sewer line in later on. Those two projects completely destroyed the road there in front of our house. And I haven't had any luck of getting anybody to go out there and try to do anything to repair it. County don't want to do anything because the city's going to take over. My question is, why do they, when they do build big projects like that and tear the street up, why doesn't the contractor or someone, why don't they put a little money in there to cover the cost of fixing the roads that they destroy,
I'm sorry, sir, Mr. Jones, which street exactly are you talking about?
That's on Sharon, just on the same street
Okay.
there, but south. They put the new, the Ellis overpass.
Right.
They built it. Then about a year or so later, they come back through and they put the sewer line all the way down the road. Those two big projects destroyed the little country road that was out there, But nobody wants to fix it. The county feels, the city's coming in, the city, well, they're not there yet, so we end up with a road, basically a road that's, destroyed for the construction. I'm just throwing that out there, so, if they're gonna do something down, they're gonna, down the street, we suffer the impact,
Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, and you're absolutely right. There's a lot of finger pointing going on because we're talking about our wallets, right? Our checkbooks.
Right.
But usually, and I hate to really give this definition, but usually when there's going to be future development, we will fix the road now and put a lot of money into it, and then as we do development and we put curb, gutter, sidewalk, we kind of do it all over again.
Yeah.
And so we certainly don't want to mismanage that money. But as I say that, I don't live on that street. You do.
Yeah, right.
And you have to drive it every day.
Yeah, just
So,
point that out.
Yeah, I get it completely.
Consider there.
I get it completely.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. Anyone else wishing to speak on this particular project? Again, it's very important that the neighbors and residents come forward. You're being heard, and I know a lot of times the talk and discussions kind of goes over the head, and rightly so. This is what we do for a living, and this is what Dave and his team do for a living, and sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I want to encourage you that even after the meeting, if there are future questions, if something comes up with the neighborhood, please give Mr. Braun or his team a call. He will clarify, he will answer questions, or at least do the best he can to note what you guys, what your concerns are. Yes, sir.
And he will find the answer for you.
That's right. That's right.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Nick Salinas, Chief of Staff with Madera County. Just wanted to mention that for the folks with private wells, that Self-Help Enterprises offers assistance with those wells. They'll do water well assessments, repairs, and sometimes replacements. I believe it's income driven, but nevertheless, I'll have a business card here in the back of the room for you folks who have any questions. Thank you.
Good point. Is there any more to the speakers, Mr. Chairman?
I don't see anyone else wishing to speak on this particular project. Mr. Salinas,
I move your
I'm sorry, Mr. Wheeler, give me just one quick second before we do that.
Okay.
I know there was discussion, and I appreciate Mr. Salinas at least having an olive branch out there for some that maybe do qualify, and there are other projects. It certainly sounds like you've looked at all of them, but use your supervisor. He represents Supervisor Robert Poitras, and so if there's anything out there, he will certainly do his best to help out. I can assure you that. Anyone else wishing to speak? I'll close public comment and bring it back to the commission for any further questions or action.
You want a motion?
If there's no further discussion, I'll call for action. Yes.
I make a motion that we approve with findings and conditions.
Second.
Was that Commissioner Ahmed that second? Or
No, Wheeler.
I'm sorry. It's been moved by Commissioner Rodriguez and seconded by Commissioner Wheeler to approve item 4 with the findings and conditions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much for that. And again, for the people here, your names and addresses and concerns are duly noted. We'll make sure that you get notifications as we continue to move forward. Thank you for being here. Moving on to item 5, this is Madera Irrigation District, the Gravelly Ford Water District reorganization. This is 2020-002 and the Sphere of Influence Amendment. Mr. Braun.
Commissioners, this is a reorganization that involves one 412-acre parcel. It's on the south side of Avenue 9, west of Road 19, kind of in the southerly southwest portion of the county. The proposal is to add this property to the Madera Irrigation District sphere of influence and remove it from the Gravelly Ford Water District sphere of influence. And then the other part of it is that the property would be annexed to MID and it would be detached from the Gravelly Ford Water District. This property is owned by MID, and MID prefers that it be in their district for a lot of operational financial reasons. The site is currently just utilized for grazing, and MID has indicated they have no plans to do anything else with the property. Apparently in the past, they had gotten approval to do some water banking activities on the property, but those permits have since expired, and so there is no activity on the site. After the annexation were to be approved, the property would be moved from the Gravelly Ford Groundwater Sustainability Agency to the MID GSA. Pursuant to the attached letter from the Gravelly Ford Water District, they have indicated they do not have a problem with this annexation, provided that MID grant a pipeline easement to them along the northern boundary of this property. And that condition has been put in as a condition of approval of the annexation. We did receive a couple of letters from the Department of Fish and Wildlife and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on this application. Both of those letters relate, they have concerns about any activity that could occur on the site, any alterations of the site. And so I have put those letters in as that they need to be complied with upon any activity, development, alteration of the property. So with that, I would recommend that we approve this annexation subject to the conditions of approval. And I would like to make one comment that the boundary that we're creating here under, I guess, normal conditions might not be the most ideal, but in this particular case, since the property is owned by MID and their boundaries butt up against it, it makes sense to include it in their district. And they currently aren't utilizing any Gravelly Ford infrastructure at this time. So it shouldn't have, with this easement that Gravelly Ford is asking for, it shouldn't have any negative impact on them. So with that, I would recommend approval.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Braun. Appreciate that. Any questions from the commission for Mr. Braun on this item?
So this is Commissioner Wheeler. So Gravelly Ford, that letter, I'm trying to open it up. I don't know if you sent that or not. I can't get the stupid thing to open here to see what everything else was said. But so they're okay with that, except for that right of way that they were asking about or something?
Yes, they've indicated they're fine with the annexation, provided that they get this easement along the north side of the property, presumably, I would guess, to serve that one parcel just to the east of this piece that would be annexed.
Okay. Like I say, I can't, the stupid thing won't open. That must be a big folder because it won't open. The other one opened up good on 4, but item 5 is just not doing it. But I can't see the map, so I can't say nothing. So if they're okay with it, and MID is okay with them giving that right away, I don't see no problem with doing this.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. I'll open it up to the public. If there's anyone here wishing to speak on this particular item, please come forward.
Dina is
Hi, good morning, everybody. This is Dina Nolan with Madera Irrigation District. We just want to say we appreciate working with Dave Braun and LAFCO on this process, along with Gravelly Ford. And so if anybody has any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer.
Great. Thank you, Dina. Thanks for being with us. Any questions of Dina or MID? Doesn't seem like it. Stand by and we'll continue to move forward. Anyone else in the either via phone or in the audience wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll close public comment and bring it back to the commission for action.
Move to approve the reorganization of sphere of influence amendments with findings and the conditions.
You have a second?
It's been moved by Commissioner Wheeler and seconded by Commissioner Rodriguez to approve item 5A, B, and C as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much for that.
Yes,
Commissioner
Mr. Chairman, it just opened and I see that piece now that Gravelly Ford has, and I see whether they wanted that right away. So so I see there's no problem with that. So, okay.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. That is it for our public hearings. I'll move on to, and thank you, Dina. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
I'll move on to commissioner reports. Commissioner Ahmed, anything to report?
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Wheeler.
Just a couple things. I got back. My son got back into my house in Norfolk. I had to get a bunch of my stuff out that's not insured because I don't have regular insurance. I got the California Fair Plan, which sucks, and plus $5,700 a year now instead of $1,100-1,200. And my cabin so far has not burnt up in the high country at Johnson Meadow. The fire is still burning there. I got a report this morning that is still burning all around it, and in fact, on both sides of the road, Grizzly Meadow Road going in. So pray the Lord it don't burn. So
Well, glad you're safe, Commissioner Wheeler, and that so far you've avoided that, but I can imagine the air quality up there is still just absolutely horrible.
It's unbelievable. We get on that purple air, and last week we had 800 part of 800 per billion or million, whatever it is, where bad health starts at about 150, and it was up to 800.
That's hazardous.
2.5. It's really hazardous. We actually were wearing masks in the house here. She seen something on Facebook, and I put filters on front of a box filter, a box fan, and in about 12 hours it's pure black. I changed it. Another 12 hours, pure black again. That's how much soot is in our house. So it's just, today is not too bad, so I'm not going to complain.
Let's hope it gets better each day. Stay safe, Commissioner Wheeler. Thank you for your comments. Commissioner Rodriguez.
Well, here in the valley, it's getting better, thank God. It was terrible there for a while. But I believe the worst is past. Hopefully it doesn't get any worse.
Let's hope. Let's hope. Thank you very much. Commissioner Young.
Yes, hello. This morning, Commissioner Graham had told me she is expressing her desire to resign. Go from there, but here I am, ready to serve.
Well, thank you. Thank you for filling in, and you just have her pay the $5,000 resignation fee. We'll be
To
happy.
me, right? She can just make it out to me.
We'll get her on
Can
the
we
agenda
put
once the
that
check is.
agenda for the next agenda, Dave, so we can make that change?
Yes, we would need to get something in writing, of course, from Jay Carroll that she wants to resign, and then we would go through a process of appointing a new permanent commissioner, and then possibly if, Laura were to take that, then we would need to get an alternate.
Right, we'd have to advertise for that. So we just put that on the next agenda.
Yeah, which right
Yeah.
now, for the record, Laura is the alternate, so she's here in Jay Carroll's place. So, that
Yeah.
formal letter of resignation would be what we would require.
Yes, that would kind of kick the process off of looking for a replacement.
Okay, I'll ask her to do it.
Thank you.
And we can, if we get the letter, I could get Bobby to make up a plaque for her years of service. Oh, we got Nick there, and we got Letty there in the audience, so one of us can get that made up too. So
They left.
Yeah.
Oh, they left. Oh, shit, they can't even hear it. Then I'll talk to Bobby.
I'm only kidding. Letty is true. She is here. She would not leave. Thank you, Letty.
Oh, okay.
Nick, on the other
Okay,
hand, that's a
boss.
different story.
What's that?
We call that dedication.
That's right. Absolutely.
Right.
I have nothing to report other than we have a few new faces here with us this morning. Ladies, thank you very much. There was a little bit of a hiccup. You took care of that, got us up and running, a smooth meeting. So thank you very, very much for your help and assistance to get this LAFCO meeting in 3 different areas. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Executive officer reports. Mr. Braun, you or the team have anything?
No, I don't really have anything specific. We have a couple of, probably I'll be bringing a couple of proposals for MSRs for the next year here shortly, but that's the main thing. And then we're kind of waiting on the Bass Lake North Fork MSR.
Got it. Great. If there's nothing else, then our next regularly scheduled meeting is October 28th. And with that, meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everybody. Be safe.
Thank you. You
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.